All right, good morning. Here's another fantastic view from my hotel room here at the South Point Hotel and Casino in Las Vegas. Starting out as a beautiful day this morning, but I don't know what that's going to be like later on. They're saying that we're under a wind advisory in Las Vegas. They're actually a wind warning, a high wind warning. They're saying wind gusts could get up to 70 miles per hour later tonight. Yeah, they're telling people to really take that seriously. I mean, that's almost hurricane force winds, 74 miles per hour is hurricane force winds. And you know, with me living in Florida, I know all about that. So anyway, it's kind of what it looks like right now. It's warm out there. I think it's about 70 today, but it's going to be like 50 tomorrow, I think. So yeah, looking at a big drastic change as far as the weather's concerned here in Las Vegas. But you know what, we'll just have to deal with it, I guess. But anyway, on the agenda today, we got more seminars we're going to go to, and then we have another party tonight. So that's you know, what's going to be happening today. So you know, just kind of hanging out, and I'm getting ready to head down to the seminars and have a full day of learning, and then we'll see what else happens. We talked about maybe going to Fremont Street tonight, but I don't know if that's going to happen with the you know, the weather's with the way it's supposed to be. If we got 70 mile per hour wind gusts, I don't want to be out there getting blown around or anything. So we may save that till tomorrow, but we'll just see. We'll kind of wing it. We'll see what happens. Okay, so I'm down here in the seminar area. We're actually in the showroom where we had the party last night, and getting ready to hear from Fernando G. He's a DJ and the promotions director for a local radio station. I think it's 599.7 here in Las Vegas. I thought this would be pretty cool for me to come check out because I'm also in radio, as you know, in Pensacola. So it's always nice to be able to see another radio professional talking. He's going to be talking about MC skills and you know, how to up your game and stuff like that. So I'm looking forward to that. I think I'll get a lot out of this one.
The vowel exercise, what you want to do is basically stretch and exaggerate your mouth. A, E, I, O, U, yes, I look funny. But what I'm doing is I'm just prepping my mouth so that I can talk clearly when I'm up here on stage, as nervous as I am today. So you want to stretch that out. Start prepping yourself. The next one is very simple. Say ah, stick your tongue out, stretch it out, ah, but at the same time saying ah, stretching it as far as you can, utilizing the vocal cords, starting to warm it up, okay? And you can flick it, do the Gene Simmons, that's crazy. Or the other one, and some people find this very difficult, is rolling the R. There we go. I can hear it, all right? Just remember like a motorcycle. Not from the back, because that sounds like you're choking, and that actually strains your throat. Just start loosening it up, So that's basically how I warm up. So what's the difference? Let's talk about the definition of a master of ceremonies. A person who introduces, speaks, or performs at a formal event, like a wedding. Okay. Announcer, the definition. A person who gives information on television or radio of an event, such as a sports contest. So what is the actual difference between the two? Does anybody know the distinct difference between the two?
Personality.
What was that? The personality. Pretty much, yeah, you're correct. The difference, the reality is that a master of ceremonies is like me. I'm standing up here, you can see me. So if I start talking, you look, oh, there's the guy standing right there. He's talking, you know? An announcer is very rarely seen. He's behind the television, behind the camera. He's up in the booth in SoFi Stadium where nobody can see. Again, hence VOG, voice of God. So you got to come in and just punch it. All right? So, definition of a hype person: talk or writing that is intended to make people excited about or interested in something or someone. Where's Jordan Marshall?
Right here.
That's my man, right there, man. That brother knows how to hype it up. I had him on my podcast, DJ to DJ. I didn't know him, and I started looking at some videos. I came across his Instagram, and I'm just watching it. The guy's got the persona. He knows how to work the mic. He knows what to say. He just knows how to hype it up. If you've never seen him work, look him up. Jordan Marshall, you the man, brother. Don't cup the mic. If you notice, it's different. And a lot of times when you cup the mic, you have to bring it way up here. You hear the tone, you hear the difference. Whereas if I do this, clearly, not so clearly. Don't use it as a rapper. Use it as a singer. And remember that when you're using it this way, you need to project. This is why you need to breathe from your diaphragm, okay? Because you need to get this distance here. You hear the clarity. If I do this, it doesn't sound clear. It sounds muffled. And if you're doing this all night, after a little while, people are going to be going, that sounds weird, you know? Remember that when you're going to speak loud, don't go, ladies and gentlemen. Now it sounds a little distorted. Ladies and gentlemen. You kind of work this microphone. Let it do its job. Okay, it's designed to pick up all the frequencies, highs, lows, and to project it nice and clear so that people can hear it nicely, hear every word you have to say. Use your natural voice. Hey, how's it going? Welcome. All right, we're going to have a great time today. No, don't do it. Use your own voice. Don't try to be somebody that you're not. When you start trying to change your voice because you think you want to sound cool and it's going to sound better, or you want to make it deeper, no, be natural. Back in the day, and us old timers remember Gary Owens, who used to talk like this, and he used to put his hands up on his ears, and everything was like that, and every commercial was like this. It's K-Earth 101. Everybody was talking like that. So in the early days, we were all wanting to be like a DJ. We wanted to talk low. We wanted to be like, yeah, we're hip, we're fine. Now it's like, hell no. This fool is fake. Get out of here. You need to be yourself. If you notice now in radio, everybody's just talking like, yo, what's up, man? Check it out, man. It's Power 106. We're here doing it live, and they're just being themselves. Be yourself. Be genuine. And trust me, people are going to realize that. They're going to realize that you are genuine, that you're not faking it. Don't be fake. All right.
You notice I don't swear on the microphone as much as I used to. What?
That was probably a once-a-month conversation with him and I when I came to him and asked for advice or needed a sounding board or anything relevant to that. You can't control it, but what you can control are things that might lead up to that. So let's break it down a little bit, okay? What we can't control. We cannot control how guests at an event may or may not respond to our performance. Now, for those of you that want to be argumentative about that point, because I've heard some feedback about this, I have always told my clients, there is one way that I can guarantee that every guest is going to dance at your event. And it involves me calling in a SWAT team, armed. We can't control that all the time. We can't control what people say, do, or think about us or our business. Is that pretty fair? I couldn't hear you. Is that pretty fair? Yeah. We're going to do this a lot, people, so if you're going to drink at the bar, sip. We cannot control some of the other vendors we work with and how they present their services. How many times have you been at a wedding where you're working with a photographer you've never worked with before, and they come up to you right before you're about to do the father-daughter dance and say, we're pulling that for sunset shots right now, right? We can't control that. We can control how to prevent it, right? And we're going to talk about that. We cannot control how our clients treat or view us. We can contribute to that, but we can't control how they're going to respond. You cannot control what your competition says or does. Does that all seem pretty fair to the room? Yeah. Awesome. my own little touch. If you act like a professional and you present yourself like one, you will be respected like one and compensated accordingly. You can control that. It's funny, and you know what? I would like to think that a lot of us in the room are not what I'm about to describe. You are all taking time out of your lives, away from your families, to come here and be better, not just performers, but business people. So when I say there are those keyboard jockeys out there who jump online and go, I demand to get a meal, and I hold a contract in front of the catering service manager that says that I'm going to get paid at this point in time. That's not professional. More importantly, though, if you do that, please let me give you a tip, and I'm not going to put you on the spot. If you're one of those people that has that clause in your contract, take it out. Take it out right now, because your contract is with your client. Your contract is not with the venue, and expecting your client to do something that eventually the venue's going to have control over anyway isn't going to hold up in court. Instead, use that time to your advantage to coordinate with the venue and have a conversation. If you're diabetic or you need to take pills or whatever, communicate that with them. More importantly, if it's that big of a deal, there's $5 footlongs at Subway. All right. Backstory. This was a wedding that I did, that I had to do, because I had to fire a DJ. I don't generally fire DJs. Anybody in my market that knows me knows that I generally don't fire you unless you're really screwed up in the head, or you stole from me, or you lied. That's it. Okay? I had to step in and do this wedding, and I walked in blind. As I worked with this particular bride and groom and called them into my office, Mom came along. And I met, for the first time in that point in time, and probably the worst in my 36-year career, Mom-Zilla. This was not Callie's wedding. This was Mom's wedding for Callie. And she made it clear to me that that's what's going to happen. And in fact, in the conversation, she was so sold on the DJ that we originally were going to have for her. She's like, well, can you make an exception? I'm like, no, I can't. I almost lost my business because I had to fire this guy. Long story short, the one thing I said to them, I went through everything, I explained my stance, and I said, you've got two choices. I would be glad to come in and do your wedding, and I can assure you that I'm going to treat it the way Ray would have. Or I will be happy to walk out front, cut you a check for your retainer fee, and guide you to somebody who might be better suited for you. And I walked out of the room and said, you can have as much time to talk about this. When you're ready, open the door. Do you ever have a moment in your life where you sat there and go, you look at something and you go, maybe I should just make this decision for them? Yep. Uh-huh. That's what happened. And I'm sitting at my desk and I'm answering emails and my checkbook is right here and I'm looking at it. And I'm going, do I value my reputation and do this so that, you know, I can make them feel better about it and not inconvenience them? Or do I write the check and wipe my hands of this? Ironically, at that very moment, the door opened. And Mom said, come on back in. And she said, we would love to have you. Perfect. Revised the agreement, went on our merry way. I did a detail appointment with this bride probably about 2 weeks later. I spent 2 hours with her and we detailed everything. Do you know how much of that actual agenda actually made it into the wedding? None. 20 minutes later, Mom called me and said, I just looked this over, you were not doing any of that at this wedding. And I looked at my checkbook again. And I said, you know what? I'm a glutton for punishment. I am the king of second chances. So long story short, day of the wedding comes, we set up, and every other hour, I'm watching Mom, I'm checking things out. After cocktail hour, Mom comes up to me and says, By the way, Callie's supposed to dance with her grandfather, and they didn't pick a song. So I went to Callie, I said, what do you think? She said, well, I don't want anything stuffy or slow. By the way, Grandpa is 84 years old and on a walker. So she goes, let's go talk to him. And he didn't like What a Wonderful World. He didn't like the way you look tonight. But he liked Stevie Wonder, so we recommended Isn't She Lovely? I even made Callie, when I walked away, make sure he was comfortable with it. We did it, everything went off without a hitch. End of the wedding, I walked up to Mom, hey Mom, how'd it go? This was fantastic, this was exactly what I wanted, you were great. You know what? I am sorry I ever doubted you when we had that first meeting. Handed me an envelope with $100 in it. I felt great. Went out in the hallway, took my camera phone, sat down with the bride and groom, took a quick 1-minute testimonial. Rob was great at our wedding, everything else. By the way, the Vimeo is going to be in the next slide. We'll get to that in a second. About 3 weeks later, I get an email. This is not the email, this is the review. And it details, that's the general synopsis, by the way, and we'll go through that in a second. And thanks to my good friend Mitch Taylor, who sat down with me and helped me write a very good response to Mom. Mom wanted her money back. Mom didn't get a dime back. 2 weeks later, this review pops up. Now, before we go any further, you're probably reading some of that English and going, huh? This woman also works for the Brockton, Massachusetts public school system. I felt bullied but was told he does, or does, a good job by the place I had the venue. I wanted one of the men that works for Rob, but he no longer worked there when my daughter's wedding took place. I spoke to him, and he told me he was professional and been DJing for a long time. He understands what wedding music is about. My daughter did not understand just what she likes. I tried to tell him I was the mother of the bride and the one paying, but it did not matter to him, which, again, this is her feedback. I'm not going to argue any of this at this point because I want to let her know how she feels. When my 85-year-old father did the dance for my daughter, and father-daughter, my husband had passed away, he played a fast song, and that's all he played. Not one slow song. By the way, this is around the time you've got virtual DJ. What do you get out of virtual DJ, friends? A playlist! So, you can get the general gist about how she's unhappy. Is that pretty fair? You've kind of read it while I've been talking? So, I took Mitch's email that we developed, and I wrote her back, online. Thank you for sharing your feedback and your thoughts. I do appreciate your feedback. It's helpful to my growth as a professional DJ entertainer. I'm sorry if you felt the circumstances surrounding your original entertainer made you feel bullied. That was not my intention. In my meeting on 12/15, I informed you the original entertainer was no longer employed. I felt that considering the circumstances and as the owner, providing your services professionally would be in the best interest of your daughter's wedding. And at the conclusion of that meeting, I insisted we move forward only if you were confident and felt comfortable. Based on our discussions throughout the planning process and in the response to the guests, which was indicated by a full dance floor. By the way, she had a videographer who gave me footage. I feel I did the best to provide a fun wedding experience. For slow songs, I did play At Last, as well as 2 slow dances during Crazy Hour. Let's put it this way. Crazy Hour was something we developed, the 3 of us, as part of that wedding. It's not anything that's a Boston thing. It's not a new wedding trend. It's just what we call that 1 hour where we did a bunch of crazy music that they wanted. According to my notes from the wedding, in addition, I played the majority of your requests, including Billy Up Buttercup and several oldies from the 60s and 70s. When it comes to her bride's dance with her grandfather, we absolutely leave that decision up to her and provide her with suggestions. She chose Isn't She Lovely? And we did the best to make that moment theirs. She never told me any of this that night. And again, if you look at it from her perspective, how could she, right? She's busy greeting people and everything else. So I understand that, but at the same time, if she had said something to me, what could I have done? Adjusted. And I also, as a side note, because I don't think she saw it, put the link to the video with her daughter and her son-in-law. And I thanked her. Here's my point. I can't control that she was unhappy. But I can control the narrative that's going to be online and show the public that I valued her opinion enough and that I responded factually. I didn't attack her character. I responded with facts. Facts and numbers, the two things that don't lie. So here's what you can take away from all of this, and I hope that's a little bit of a learning experience for you. You should be reading each one of your reviews as a learning experience, even if it's a 5-star. I always, is Randy Bartlett in the room? No?